Today, we'll be going over Ginyu Force Special Combo, which was requested by Caleb Brock 5201. Thank you for that, Caleb. You're really putting me to work today. So, let's get right into things. Ginyu Force Special Combo is a strike super that can be unlocked as a random reward from Parallel Quest 16. The description reads, attack with the creativity of the Ginyu Force. Use different directions with the left stick to change your attack pattern. Also works with a neutral left stick, and pulling back on the left stick when guarding. And let me tell you folks, this one is more of a doozy than what I bargained for. So let me tell you what I know. The move has 5 different variations to it, all of which cost 1 bar of ki. I'm going to pull up a list of the variations that I pulled from the Xenoverse 2 wiki to help me out here. The reason why I'm doing this is because the inputs are inconsistent and will change depending on what angle the camera's looking at your character from. There are only 2 inputs on this list that are consistent. The one that does not require a directional input, obviously, as well as the back hit variation where you pull back on the left stick. The other 3 variations are straight fucked, so I'll be going over those ones first. But through a lot of testing, I was able to get them all pretty well figured out. So here is how to input each move. To perform the claw variation, when the camera is facing your character's left side, tilt the analog stick forward and a little to the left. And when the camera is facing your right side, tilt the analog stick forward and a little to the right. If successful, you will follow up with a chop, then go into a flurry of kicks, and finish with an upward kick that will knock your opponent away. I consider this to be the best variant of the move, as it is the only one that has any sort of range to it, and it allows you to fly up to your opponent to continue your basic combos. To perform the forward kick, when the camera is facing your character's right side, tilt the analog stick to the left, and when the camera is facing your character's left side, tilt the analog stick forward. If successful, you will follow up with a wide left hook and finish with a butt bump. There really isn't anything special about this variant, but sometimes if you knock your opponent into a stage obstacle, you can continue your basic combos. To perform the variant that starts with a high kick, when the camera is facing your character's right side, tilt the analog stick forward, and when the camera is facing your character's left side, tilt the analog stick to the left. If successful, your character will teleport and perform a second kick. This is the weakest of all the variants. The back hit variant is pretty consistently performed when you pull the analog stick back, or rather, in the direction of your opponent. Your character will kick behind them, then do a little breakdancing move, then do a couple of kicks to send the opponent downward. You can continue your basic combos off of it. You can also use some fast-acting range supers afterward, like Gallic Gun. Then lastly, there's the neutral variant of this super attack, which is performed without adding any directional input. The move starts by bumping your opponent with your back, then goes into a little ballerina spin and kick, and then finishes off by drop kicking your opponent to the ground. The only thing that makes this variation special is that it does the highest damage of them all when the full thing lands. Now, this is a move that does not have too much practical use, despite having 5 different ways that you can use it. It will not connect off of knockbacks or knockdowns, not even the claw variant that actually has some range to it, unless, of course, you are super close to your opponent by the time you launch the move. So, the only real way to use it is during points earlier on in your basic combos where you're still right by your opponent, or as a back hit. You might be able to use the claw variant to catch your opponents off guard because of its range, but in general, I really only recommend using this claw variant and the back hit variant because of their combo potential. But it is important to note that it is possible for most variants that some of the hits will not connect properly. It is somewhat rare, but if you do decide you want to use this move, you ought to be aware of it. And just for point of reference, I test all these skills on a type of male Saiyan hybrid between strikes and ki blasts. with no Super Soul, so the damage seen in these videos can definitely be taken to greater heights. And there we go! We got through Ginyu Force Special Combo, the skill with the most variations to it, and probably the skill with the most things wrong with it as well. Now, there are hundreds, literally hundreds of skills in this game, and I'm trying to cover them all for you guys. But the odds of me knowing every last detail for every last skill is just a little unlikely. So if there are any details about this skill that I may have missed, let us all know down in the comments. Also, every skill so far has been tested on version 1.36 of the game, so if any future updates change how this skill works, also be sure to let us know. I certainly would appreciate it. But with all that being said, I think that's about my cue to bounce. I hope you found what you were looking for in this video, and until we meet again, make sure you take care. See ya!